Dear learners, welcome to the course Ecosystem Energy Resource. Today, we'll discuss on energy resources. Energy, we know, is one of the important sector. Moreover, as a student of mathematics science, we need to have a brief concept about different kind of energy, right? And we know that if you look into the importance of this particular sector of energy, energy is, we know, the drivers of life. And if you look across the world, especially countries like India, policy of energy, is characterized by trade-off among four major drivers, such as, rapid growing economy. When there is a rapid growing economy, there is a need for dependable and reliable supply of electricity, gas, and petroleum products. When there is rapid growing economy, the second major drivers is they are automatically, with the growth of economy, we have increasing household income. When your household income is increased, there is a need for affordable and adequate supply of electricity and also clean cooking fuels. And we know that most of the country, they have limited domestic reserves of fossil fuels, and the need to import a vast fractions of the energy, that's gas, crude oil, and petroleum products for their domestic requirement. And of course, we know that whatever issues in front of us is because of the ineffective or inefficient use of energy that created Indo-urban regional environmental impacts that necessitate the need for the adoption of cleaner fuels and cleaner technologies. So these are the four important drivers that looks for a better energy policy. Again, if we look philosophically, especially in Indian philosophy, Sabha, the matter, and Shakti, the energy, it coexists and together form Shiva, the universe. And if we will look this energy scientifically, it has a strong association with the matter. Einstein's famous equation that suggests matter energy conversion, that is E equals to mc square. We are aware energy is very fundamental for any kind of activity. Energy is the ability to do work, and it comes in different forms, like in the form of heat, we call technically thermal; in the form of light, call it radiant energy; in the form of motion, that call kinetic energy, electrical energy, chemical energy, gravitational nuclear energy. So in a broad sense, we can say there are two types of energy. One is the potential energy, another is the working or kinetic energy. Now in potential energy is that store energy. These energy resources are divided in two main groups. One is inexhaustible, that is an energy source that can be easily replenished, and exhaustible and energy sources that is limited by its stock or capacity of regeneration. This is what the basic concept, the need for understanding the basic concept of energy. Again, if we look into the form of energy we are using, about 99% of the energy used in the earth to heat the earth, to drive all other natural processes of the earth, that comes directly from the sun. Without this solar energy input, Earth's average temperature would be anywhere near the absolute zero of -273 degrees centigrade. So that reflect the importance of energy. Solar energy, we know that it helps in recycling of carbon, oxygen, water, and other vital chemicals of life. It includes both perpetual energy and other renewable form of energy that produced indirectly by the sun's energy. Like, we are talking about wind energy, we're talking about falling and flowing of water, that we call technically hydropower. We're talking about that wave energy, we're talking about biomass, right? Biomass, if you look that technically, this is the solar energy stored in chemical bonds of organic compounds of biomass, right? Our food chain is a kind of passing of energy from one level to another level of food chain system, right? So then the 1% of the remaining energy that we are utilizing is we generate to supplement the 99% of solar input. That is through commercial energy that we sold in the marketplace, or non-commercial energy sources that use in the form of firewood, then and crop residue. If we look that most of the commercial energy, it comes from extracting and burning mineral resources in the earth crust. Primarily, these are non-renewable fossil fuels. If you look in the status in developed country, they use this commercial energy to a great extent. But in the other side, if we look into developing countries, we are largely dependent on the non-commercial source of energy. So we know that that's why we need energy. So while choosing the source of energy for use, now the most important essential factor is to understand its energy quality, that is its ability to do useful work. So then we can say that some of the energy are high quality energy, another is low quality energy. When we talk about high quality energy, it is the organized or concentrated energy, and it can perform a great deal of useful work. For example, we have high quality energy like electricity, fossil fuels, concentrated sunlight, nuclear power, and some of the matter that at high temperature. In contrast, if we talk about low quality energy, these are not organized well, these are disorganized or dispersed and has little ability to do useful work. Some of the example is that heat dispersed in the moving molecule of a large amount of matter, such as the atmospheric medium, then in the form of in large body of water. Thus, the quality of energy is very much important when we are trying to look into the sustainability of energy, or we can say to save energy. So today in this session, let us try to understand what are the various types of energy sources. As I indicated in this brief discussion, that energy, it can be in different form, and we can look from the potential point of view and so on. So here you will see first you can look at types of energy into one is inexhaustible and exhaustible. When you talk about inexhaustible, that can be look into two types of energy sources. One is perpetual energy, the other is renewable energy. So in other side of exhaustible, you can look into two major categories: potential renewable energy and non-renewable energy. This type of energy, as a student of sustainability science, we are looking this looking the approach of understanding the energy resources from the lens of sustainability in a holistic way, right? There may be different way of understanding the types of energy. Here we are looking from the lens of sustainability in a holistic way, right? So when we talk about stable energy, this inexhaustible energy sources are unlimited as far as human consumption concerned. The human consumption is concerned. In case of exhaustible energy, in that energy, the sources in that rate of replacement is either very, very slow or is dependent on the state of the parental stock and are prone to depletion depending upon exploitation, right? Again, when we look into the inexhaustible energy, that can look into perpetual and renewable. We know that solar energy is the only perpetual source of energy and is indirectly the source of the most of the other form of energy. When we talk about renewable energy as a type of inexhaustible energy, these renewable energy are sources of energy that are those which get renewed continuously by inputs mainly from sun in addition to gravitational forces, geothermal and geomagnetic forces. So this type of energy includes, energy of the wind, energy from flowing water, energy of wave, tide, geothermal energy, ocean thermal energy, etc. When we talk about another type of energy that is exhaustible, and that can be broadly looked into, potentially renewable and non-renewable energy. When we talk about potential renewable energy, these are group of energy. This energy is solar-driven energy. Those remain renewable as long as their rate of exploitation is below their rate of regeneration, right? And this is called potentially renewable energy resources. But the limitation here is when we overexploit these resources, means exploitation beyond their regeneration capacity, they become non-renewable. This includes the muscular energy of animal world, chemical energy content of organic substances like liquids, solid gases that are produced by diverse biological world. So we cannot say that there is benefits from renewable sources of energy, right? So it depends on the situation. So another group of energy that's under exhaustible types of energy, non-renewable source of energy. Now, these are group of energy resources that occurs in limited stocks on Earth's crust, which theoretically can be completely used up, and that's why it's called non-renewable energy resources. Like, we know that mineral oils such as coal, petroleum, natural gas, nuclear ores, etc. And some of the non-renewable energy resources like petroleum are in continuous making, but the formation rate is extremely less than the rate of consumption. We know the reason behind that. When as a student of systematic science, we know the reason behind that. It is because of the population pressures and other factors that is directly related to this issue. Again, if you look into the basis of limitation of stock and pollution, when we utilize, or we can say utilization of resources, whatever the way we want to use the term utilization, exploitation, in the process of using the resources, of course, one important is, there is stock. We have to understand the stock, limitation of stock. In other side, in the process of use, starting from your then extraction from this origin place, then the process of utilization till end use, then their pollution is happen. So if we look from that angle of limitation of stock and the pollution, all the energy resources what we discussed can be grouped into non-renewable and in alternate energy resources. Except some of the non-renewable resources, all possible resources of energy that are being exploited presently or whose exploitation will be possible in the future, that can be looked as alternative source of energy. The details we will discuss in another session. So the main emphasis in choosing alternative resources are, because when we talk about alternative sources of energy, why we are looking this way of understanding the energy is, and why we are using this term alternative source of energy is the major emphasis is because of such kind of energy resources have minimum impact, and that means minimum pollution, renewability or perpetuity of the stock, and at least overall environmental impact. Another way of classifying energy resources is to consider them in terms of conventional and non-conventional of resources. When we talk about conventional resources of energy, it includes, as we talk about, that non-renewable resource, that coal, oil, natural gas, thermal power, firewood, hydropower, nuclear power. Similarly, when we talk about non-conventional energy sources, they include urban waste, agriculture waste, energy plantation, animal and human waste, solar energy, wind energy, and tidal energy, geothermal energy. All these non-conventional resources are pollution-free, environmentally clean, socially relevant. Right. So in this session, if I summarize this session, we understand in this short session is that we know that the concept of exhaustible energy. When you talk about exhaustible energy, it is the source of energy whose rate of replacement is either very slow or is dependent on the state of the parental stock. So solar energy is the only perpetual source of energy, and indirectly is the source of most of the other form of energy. So when we discuss about renewable resources, then renewable resources of energy are those which get renewed continuously by input mainly from sun, in addition to gravitational forces, geothermal, geomagnetic forces. And we know that these renewable resources include energy of wood, energy of wind, flowing water, wave, tide, geothermal, ocean thermal energy, etc. Other solar triable energy, that group of energy, we tag that as renewable as long as their rate of exploitation is below their rate of regeneration, and they are called as potentially renewable energy sources. Again, when we talk about renewable energy, that obtained from the solar heat, wind, biomass, hydro, any other resources has tremendous potential of contribution or to meet the energy demand of different sector, and that has play an important significant role. So in other session, coming session, we will talk in detail about those different categories of energy sources, their issues, how energy has to be understood in that the status of those energy, renewable, non-renewable resources from a holistic point of view. Again, how to store those energy for future use. For today, thank you very much.